You guys know who I am, right? Oh, we go. Leave it to Ana. So the person with the star who's not showing her face, that's Ana Patiño. She's like the powerhouse. She's the engine of Somos. But she's probably like eating like a cookie or something. She don't want you to see her. Oh, there she is. Okay, she's not eating a cookie. Um, so I'm at the HIP conference in Albuquerque, trying to represent us, trying to bring more money in our door. Anyway, so what we'll do is we'll have you do intros, and you're gonna do three things. Um, you're gonna do your name, your town, your organization, and who, when you were 20 years old, movie star or singing star, you were in love with. Okay, it could be guy, girl. It can be any. Well, I'm gonna date myself because man, that was a long time ago. 20 years old. Yeah, that was the 80s. Yeah, so let's start there. And Pavel, you're gonna lead off, man. You're gonna be the sacrificial lamb here.
I'm writing this down. So name, organization, location, and favorite band.
Your teenage crush.
Teenage crush. What?
Yeah, somebody you saw on TV, you were like, or movie star, somebody you would never be with in a million years.
Oh gosh, so
You were
deep.
like, oh wow.
All right, let me go. I just put it in the comment section. So embarrassing. Pavel Rutherford. Thanks to Armando, I get to help direct this program and coordinate. Looking forward to this. I work with Somos, obviously, but in my spare time, I'm at Stanford and the League of Conservation Voters. So muchas gracias. Teenage crush. So early '90s, Claudia Schiffer, like
Schiffer,
from the
dude.
'80s.
Oh,
Yeah,
no,
sorry.
no.
Or Naomi Campbell.
My
You take your
opinion of
pick.
you just went like this.
She was pushed
All
all over the
right.
place. Anyway, someone else go. This is embarrassing. Go, go, go.
Yeah, it's super embarrassing. That's the whole idea, man. So we're gonna take Miss Serrano next. Anna, Dr. Anna, please.
Wow. So my name is Dr. Ana Maria Serrano from Oceanside, California, with God's Heart Ministry, Las Valientes. I really didn't have a crush at 20. The crush I had was in the 70s, and that was someone named Tony DeFranco.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah, you
My
remember him, right?
my sisters had his posters up partially closed. Yes. Oh, wonderful. Okay, well, gracias. Noah.
Hi, everybody. I'm Noah Atencio. I'm from Denver, and I run an organization called Philanthropy Colorado. And you first started with like musicians, so I I'm gonna say Ricky Martin only because like I had this dream of looking like him. Like I wanted so much to be him. And then when I was like 13, my first big crush was Paulina Poroskova. She was one of the supermodels, but definitely Ricky Martin jumped to mind.
All right, all right. Let's shake it up with some women. Oh, what we did with Mito, you're next, man.
Hey everyone, my name is Mito Diaz Espinosa. I am in Waco, Texas, um, with a couple different organizations. So as of 2 weeks ago, I'm now the CEO of our Hispanic Chamber of Commerce in Central Texas, but I also serve on some other nonprofit boards as well. Um, for me, in my 20s, 20 would have been mid 90s, so I'm going to say very relevant today, Selma Hayek.
Ay, hombre. Okay, so you guys know who I am, and I saw in a Mexican movie in my 20s a Mexican actress named Salma Hayek, and I was like, oh, that's what I want to be when I grow up. Yeah, so she was beautiful way back. Yeah, so yeah, I met her too, dude, at Cheech Marine's house at a pool party. But she's pretty smart. She's a wonderful woman. Anyway, enough stories about people we met. Melody, you're up. Come on, present.
Hi, my name is Melody Lozano. Oh, did I freeze?
A little bit, but a good freeze.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm from Hartford, Connecticut, and I'm the program coordinator for Central Connecticut State University's Latin American, Latino, and Caribbean Center.
Wow.
And teenage crush, I mean, like a few years ago, Maluma.
I don't know who Maluma is, but
Reggaeton,
That's-
reggaetonero from Colombia.
Okay, all right. You're a first Connecticut La Vanguardia person. You guys are the seventh cohort, okay? Sixth cohorts kind of full of themselves. So I want you guys to take it and no, they are. Come on, Pavel. First too. See, I'm freezing too. This is internet in New Mexico, man. So we're gonna do ENI and then Adrian and then Isabella. So ENI, you're next.
Hi, everybody. I'm Yanaí. I am with the organization COFEM, Consejo de Federaciones Mexicanas en Norteamérica. We are in LA, but we also have an office in Coachella. And who I always loved is Selena Quintanillo. But if I were to say a crush, when I was young, I was like before high school, maybe Nelly, rap singer.
He's a bad boy. Adrian, you're next.
Hey everybody, my name's Adrian. I'm from Fresno. I'm with Pequeños Empresarios.
All
And
right.
my crush, which is current, is Ana de Armas.
Damn right. Good man. Isabella, you're up.
All right, I'm Isabella. I'm from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, with Hispanic Professionals of Greater Milwaukee. Like my crush at 20 was just a few years ago, and it still stays strong with Bad Bunny.
I know. Too many
I know,
tats.
I knew
Well,
you were gonna say that.
I'm old, okay? Like guys don't have tattoos unless you're a sailor. So I'm old as dirt, okay? You're Betty, and then Leslie, and then Diana.
Hi, I'm Betty. I work at the Women's Building in San Francisco, California. I've
I'll
been
see you
trying to think of
Thursday.
it. Yeah, I actually won't be there. That's a board retreat, so, but I'll hear about it. A teenage crush, I've been trying to think, and Rihanna and Bad Bunny were the ones who first came to mind, so I'll just leave that.
Say no more. Leslie, you're up.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Leslie Arellano, and I am with Central Community Partners. I am based in El Cerrito, California, and I'm just gonna echo Bad Bunny continues to be relevant.
Okay, all right. I'm giving it to Claudia Schiffer. Ándale, Paul. Wonderful. Diana, you're next.
Hi everyone, nice to meet you. So my name is Diana in Spanish. I'm a student grad student at USC. I'm getting my MBA, and I also recently helped start a nonprofit called the Stella Arts Foundation in Southeast LA County. And my teenage crush would probably be Edward Cullen or Robert Pattinson, the actor from Twilight. I was very obsessed with the books and with the movies, so those were the posters I had on my wall.
He does a
All
great
right, we're
rendition
gonna
of
go to Russ.
Batman. Sorry, Armando. The Batman, he did a great job, by the way. Just saying.
He did, yeah.
It's gonna be we're gonna ask my man Russ and Jonathan and then Karina.
Hey, great to be here. Russell Degnan, Operation New Hope, San Bernardino, California, or the Inland Empire. I gotta go with Alyssa Milano, who's the boss.
That's true. She was very popular. I'm hot guys because it was 104 here still. Okay, Jonathan and Karina, please.
Hey, it's nice to meet everyone. My name's Jonathan Angulo. I'm currently in El Centro, California, and I'm a research and policy fellow with the United Farmworkers Foundation. And I would say my teenage crush was Ariana Grande. So yeah.
That's logical. Yeah. Karina, you're up. Then Jorge and then Lily.
Hi everyone, my name is Karina Garcia. I am all the way on the East Coast in Perth Amboy, New Jersey. I'm with the Puerto Rican Association for Human Development. And my childhood crush would probably have been Zac Efron from High School Musical. But present day, because I'm still in my 20s, would be Michael Ealy.
Okay, all right, Karina. So I just met Karina too. She was at our Oxnard conference too. So Jorge,
Yes.
you're up. Jorge, Lily, and then Tanya.
Hi everyone, my name is Jorge Arguello. I'm in San Francisco and I work for Latino Cultural District, Calle 24.
yeah,
And
man.
my crush was Freddie Jr. from Scooby-Doo. And it
So
was
funny.
hard because I also was thinking on Ricky Martin, but no one mentioned Ricky Martin, so I was like, okay, I will go with my second crush.
We are broad-minded here, brother. Okay, even animated crushes are beautiful. Okay, Lily and then Tanya.
Hi, everyone. I'm Lily Sanchez in Chattanooga, Tennessee, at La Paz, Chattanooga. My teenage crush was Diego Luna. I saw him in Dirty Dancing Havana Nights, and that was crazy. It was amazing.
I've met Diego Luna once by accident. I stepped on his foot in New York. I was at a cafe and I stepped on this guy's foot and I looked at him and I just said like this, "Oh, lo siento, Diego." And he goes, "No, it's no problem." Like I knew him, like we were old friends. And the woman I was with at the time, she was, Diego Luna. Why didn't you introduce me? Did you know him? I was gonna be like, "Oh yeah, we're old friends," but I didn't. He's a nice guy. You know, I have huge feet, so I squished him. Tanya, you're up. Tanya, did you already go? I don't think you did.
She wrote
No,
something.
yeah, she wrote in the chat. I can read it for
Okay.
her. I'm her executive assistant.
Oh, really? Tanya Estrada. Okay, she's women's building. Enrique Iglesias. See, I was waiting for. I mean, he can. He's a little slimy, but he can dance. Yeah. I don't know. That's my straight male perception. All right, so let's jump in, guys. Let's talk about fundraising. This is what we're here for. First, let me say, um, it's so beautiful to see you guys here, man. You don't understand. I'll tell you a really quick story. And I don't share this with. I haven't shared this with other cohorts. I don't think I have, Pavel. But I founded Somos when I was dying in the hospital. I was paralyzed. I had Guillain-Barré disease. And I was, they didn't have a diagnosis for me. They thought I had Lou Gehrig's disease because I couldn't move and I couldn't breathe. And they asked me, this nurse told me, we'll do that test on you tomorrow if you're here. So I was like, oh shit, she means if I'm alive. Because the night before I stopped breathing. So I thought to myself, what would you do if you knew you could live? What, with your knowledge and who you are and your insignificant little existence, could you do? And it came to me, founded Latino Fundraising Institute. Okay, that's where it came from. The first notes were on my iPhone with my thumb because I couldn't, I could only talk and put notes and notes. So that's where it came from, the fear, right? Fear of dying, of like saying goodbye to my baby, my daughter, and my papa at the time who was alive, the woman I loved at the time. It was horrible. So I say that story because through great fear and horror, being paralyzed for 6 weeks is terrible and painful. Great things can happen, beautiful things can happen, and you coming together here is a beautiful thing, and our people fighting is a beautiful thing. And we welcome our allies with open arms, traguito, and hugs. Okay, and we welcome all of you to this organization. Somos isn't a professional development organization; it's a movement, and it's a movement of helping our people help themselves and find their own power. And you are our scouts, Isabella and Melody and Karina. You're going to learn things from us, but you're going to do new things. Okay, and your obligation is to come back and teach them and to be leaders. When I'm dead and buried, I want you guys to be the ones picking up the flag. Okay. There's 100 people before you who've been in La Vanguardia, so you have your own already gang of people. We'll get Russ some colors y todo, and so you guys will look all slicked out. All right. So let's talk about this is the quick intro. We'll talk about this. We're going to do an overview of fundraising today and talk about basic. Oh no, so we don't have the student voices this time. All right. So here's the crew. All right, here's the great crew. And Pablo is your point for everything La Vanguardia, but we're all here for you. You know, we're all here for you. Pablo's 6'2" Cubano, 6'4", right?
I'll take
And
6'3", but 6'4" sounds better. Go ahead.
that sounds better, right? And he's a veteran prospect researcher. And so he's a powerful fundraiser, and we adore him, and he's a donor to Somos. Ana Patiño, who's here on the call, is, like I said, she's the engine of Somos. She makes everything happen. I have crazy ideas, and she makes them happen. That's a good picture of you, Ana. You look so happy there. And you guys all know me. I've been a fundraiser for 40 years, and I just won a bunch of cool awards. All right, I like the way it flips. That's pretty cool, man. Now, you're all now members of Somos, okay? That means, you know, the way this is set up, guys, I cannot see if somebody's asking questions. Oh, now I can. If you want to ask a question, raise your hand, or put something in the chat, preferably raise your hand, okay? So our board are the chingons and chingonas, or for you Puerto Ricans, the cabrones of fundraising. They're the best of the best, okay? I pick people who've raised multi-million dollars, who've raised them in diverse circumstances. There are no major university fundraisers on our crew. And that's because we want people who've worked in small and medium nonprofits. Yanita works for a university, but she's also worked for small nonprofits. And so these are your people who will counsel and also teach you in classes. And there are people who you will learn from. And I'm very proud to call them our partners. Oh, how did I do that? I clicked something by accident. Okay, so you guys still see my screen? Yeah, okay, cool. All right. So what makes this different? It's not just training and certificate program, it's familia. I wanted to always make something that was muy Latino. You know what I mean? Something where, short of being a gang and having colors, where you guys are going to be with us and be part of us. So already that is working out. We are having incredible success with our membership in La Vanguardia. We're having a lot of people stay with us and be part of this. And it's very, very wonderful. It's very moving. So we want to create an alumni core of you that I can help you 20 years from now get jobs. I can help you with your fundraising 5 years from now, and that the board can, and that you can help each other and learn from each other. This isn't something where you learn it and go, okay, adios, bye-bye. No, 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 no. We want to create something that lasts for your lifetime, okay? And that when you're an old codger, when Jorge's, you know, got a wheelchair, todo, he can tell the young people, hey, you should go to La Vanguardia, see if you can get accepted. That's what we want to do. We want to create something powerful, okay? Now, the most important thing I've already mentioned is that you are scouts. You're the people who are going to try new things, you know, and some of you times you're going to fall on your face and you're going to fail. But sometimes you won't. Sometimes you'll come up with new methods of fundraising and new methods of fundraising from our people. And your obligation, your word, is to come back and teach it. This is a continuous improvement model. This is what makes La Vanguardia and Somos unique. We have already people who've come back and taught how they raised millions of dollars. And you're going to learn from some of those people too. These aren't some university gabachos telling you how it's done. These are your own people in the field who are doing it right now. Okay, this isn't somebody who's out of touch. All right. And also, we want to hear from you and help us to improve this program. You know, and when you get done, you get the whole Somos network. You're all members of Somos now. So all of our library, all of our consultants, all of our classes are open to you now. All right. So you have full access for a year. In a year, you got to pay to be a member. But right now, you're members. And so at the end, your graduation, you get some really nice presents and you get a certificate. You also get my cell phone number. Okay. Because I want to help you. I want to help Betty going forward. Okay, this is my soy hombre de mi palabra. Okay, when I tell you we're going to do this, we're going to do this. All right, let's keep chomping here. How do I click? There it goes. I'm getting old here. So this is horrific time we live in, right? They're dragging our people off the streets, and there's a level of hate that's really out of this world for us. People who don't even know us hate us. And a lot of our people, I'm being very frank with you guys. You'll learn this about me. I don't say no bullshit. I'm at the Hispanics and Philanthropy Conference, and they're kind of afraid to talk about the politics of what's going on. They're like, oh, we don't want to get political. And I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? Our people are being dragged off the streets like animals, and you don't want to get political. This is the time to speak up. This is the time to be pissed. And this is the time to unify. Okay. Now, right on. And so we have to realize that their hate in the open is our opportunity, because they love to hate us from behind. Oh, they're illegals. That's why I hate them. No, no, they hate us because we're brown. They hate us because we dance better than they do. Okay. And this is, said with all of our people in the room, all of our allies, all of our friends, they know about this too. They've seen hate themselves. So what we have to recognize is that there's an opportunity in their hate. It's like somebody punching you and they're overextended and they're off balance. We need to take that hate and turn it into money. We need to turn that money into services, into lawyers, into healthcare, into scholarships, into food assistance for people. Okay, because there's feeling good about something and feeling something. Oh my God, that shouldn't be that way. And then there's action. Oh, I hate it when people die of preventable illnesses. Oh, look, there's a clinic to help them. The bridge between that is fundraising, and that's what you're here to learn. Okay? Fundraising makes shit happen. Not just well intentions, but real things, real money, buildings you can touch. Okay? So fundraising is the missing link for Latinos in the US right now. Okay, it's what we need to activate our people, and not just for Latinos, for all the communities we live in. Some of you guys are from the Central Valley. It's diverse. Okay, some of you in Connecticut, it's diverse. We want to help all working people, and if Latinos lead the way and lift other people up, que bonita, see? Right, that's what you're here for. This isn't about fundraising. This is about power. Okay, so why do we do this? We do this for her. So when I'm in a market someplace and I see a little Latina in a shopping cart or with her mama, I think about all the doors, and some of you women know them better than I do, that are closed to her because she's brown and she's poor, you know. And the organizations you work for and in your work, your job is to open those doors for her. She doesn't know. She'll never thank you. She'll never give you a besito or anything. And there's some of those doors Melanie's gonna have to kick open for her, right? You don't ask, you just kick them. So we fight for her, okay? We fight for all of our young kids who don't have any opportunities and don't know it. They're smart, they want to work, they want to have families, they want to have lives, and people want to stop them from it. There are people in buildings in DC and across the country that don't see her as a person. They see her as a maid, okay? They see her as the woman who picks up the groceries. They don't see her as a doctor. They don't see her as a counselor. They don't see her as an airplane pilot. Okay. So our job is to make sure all of our people reach their full potential and to kick whatever damn doors we need to kick. And that's what fundraising does. All right. Any questions? Any comments? We're going to get into fundamentals. This is my no bullshit approach to fundraising, guys. All right. Okay, cool. Isabel looks like she has a question, but I'm wrong. I can see some of your faces. I'm saying, oh, there's a question there. But no, okay. I was wrong. I'm sorry. So we're going to talk about some of the rules of Somos, of LV, La Vanguardia. You guys are LV7, okay? We can get you to have tattoos. Russ, can you hand out some tattoos? Get some LV7, get some artists over there. And then so we're going to talk about the cycle. We're going to talk about fundraising for social change, types of fundraising, and some of the things people don't tell you about in fancy fundraising classes that are true that you got to know about. Some of them are kind of grim and they're hard to hear, but I want you to know about them so you can see them coming and deal with them. And also, in the same reality, we're going to talk about the state of Latino fundraising in the country, what's going on with that or not. So you guys know, again, I'm not going to pull any punches on you guys. I want you to know what's going on. Okay. So safety is so important. I want everyone to feel very welcome here, okay? And I want you to say stupid things and ask stupid questions. Only Pavel will laugh at you. No, he won't laugh at you. He's a gentleman. And I want you to support each other. And, this isn't, let's learn from Armando. He's been in fundraising a long time. This is, let's learn from Armando and each other, okay? Some of you are more veteran than others, and you know who you are. You've got some good experience under your belt. Some of you have been around a little longer and know how institutions work. So don't just sit there, be quiet with your camera off. Hell no, okay? You're here to learn. There's also about 4 or 5 other of your classmates that couldn't make this for some reason. They'll be here next time. Okay, so mutual learning, innovation is key to Latino fundraising because it really is being invented as we speak. So your innovation, your new ideas, challenging us in some of our assumptions is important, okay? Oh, also, we appreciate it when you're concise, okay? We don't want Tanya going on for 2 hours, all right? We want her to say, okay, this is my question, dot, 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 dot. Okay, good. So I'm just picking on you, Tanya. So keep it concise, keep it clear. Don't go overboard. Please raise your hand. Please don't speak over other people, at the same time. You guys are generally pretty good about that. Only the third cohort, we had a problem with that, but that was fine. We fixed it. And we always want to have every gender and preference welcomed and felt inclusive and listened to. Somos is by charter, our board is majority women because we always want to recognize misogyny and be careful of that. So that's important to us. Any questions yet, guys? No questions. All right. I thought Doctor said, I don't know, we have like 10 questions by now, but I don't know. Okay. He's like the questionnaire type. All right. So let me show you what fundraising looks like. This is where I learned major gifts fundraising. This is Cornell University in Ithaca, New York. And I was a annual fund and a leadership gifts officer there for 7 years. This is St. Jude Children's Hospital. I met some of these people today. They raise $11 million off Latinos every year for a hospital in Tennessee. Nobody will ever use, not our people at least, the people who give them money, right? And St. Jude is a trip. And there's other types of, major fundraising I can tell you about. Scholarships, universities. Fundraising is incredible right now in this country because it's super essential for people power. That's how you take people's power and turn it into real money, okay? The vast majority of nonprofits are small and underfunded because they don't raise money, they don't fundraise. Okay, they have budgets under $5 million. 70% of nonprofits have never even had a major giving program. They rely on small gifts or grants. So many organizations are dependent on grants, it's out of this world. When in reality, it's now 78% of giving, because corporate giving has gotten smaller. 78% of giving is individuals. Okay, that's 2020, that's 5 years old. But with all of these things, all of them, Latinos are worse. Our organizations are smaller, less well-funded, and literally I can count the major gifts program on half my hand with thousands of Latino nonprofits over it right now. Right now, I'm going to say, and I look at lists of Latino nonprofits, there's probably over 1,500 to 2,000 of them in the country. And every time I think I know a town, I know LA, I know all the Latino nonprofits, they pop up all over the place like weeds. They're everywhere. Bad analogy, but you get it. So that's what we're talking about. Is fundraising is not most institutions don't want to invest in fundraising, but they want money. Okay, it's like, think about it. If you were a store and you wanted to sell things, you got to have a nice store. You got to have things on the shelves. If you had an empty store and you would expect to sell things, it's not going to happen, right? So fundraising is similar. We have to invest in it to make it happen. And part of your fundraising is advocacy for fundraising, okay? Now, this is super important. This is the cycle of fundraising, okay? Cycle of fundraising. You want to tattoo this on the shoulder of every board member you have, okay? All fundraising, individual, corporate, foundation, can be determined in the cycle of fundraising. Most people who don't know fundraising, which is a lot of people, think it's Noah asking Bill Gates for money from the first meeting. Oh, hi, Bill, give me $1 million. Okay, Noah, here's $1 million. It's stupid. That's not the way it works. Okay. That's what, so if Melody gets a great appointment with a major donor, the board's going to expect her to ask him for $10,000 in the first meeting. That's like Melody saying, hey, I just met you, Noah, will you marry me? Noah's going to be like, this woman's crazy, man. She's like stalker's material. The hell with that? This date's over. You don't do that, right? So the cycle is this: identification. So we're going to teach you, Pavel's profession is prospect research. We're going to teach you about prospect research in depth. Who cares about the work you do and the juxtaposition and has the money to make a gift? Small gift, big gift, same thing. So you can't just ask your Uncle Tony, or your friend or somebody, oh, she's rich, I'll ask her for money. Doesn't work that way. With all of us, we may not have a lot of money, but there is something somebody can ask you for that you're going to be like, no, I got to give money for that. That's very personal to me. I got to do something, right? So that's all prospect research is finding the right people. So we asked Betty for, hey, will you support Chinese cultural dancing? She's like, yeah, that's nice, but not really my thing. But if you ask her for something that's close to her heart or something, but an organization that helped her familia, she's going to give, right? This is the mistake. Heard a woman today tell me at this conference, Latinos don't give. And I said, they give to me. She goes, really? Have you ever gotten a big gift out of Latino? I said, yeah, $1 million. What? That's because I'm a fundraiser, tonta. I didn't say that, but you get it. The second part is qualification. Okay, so let's make somebody rich. Who wants to be rich? Let's make Isabella rich. All right. Let's see. You want to live in New York or LA, Isabella?
I live in LA.
Okay, I'll get you a house in Packpal looking over the ocean. Do you want horses or a boat?
Horses.
Okay, we'll get you 3 horses. You want a Maserati or BMW?
BMW?
Oh, bad choice. Okay.
Wrong answer. Sorry.
Wrong answer. That's right. So Isabella's stinking rich. Let's say she inherited, your family had a whole bunch of land and you're super filthy rich. Maybe you're a movie star. Okay. So Noah learned about you because you gave his organization $500. Okay. Or $100, something small. So Noah's first job is to look and go, oh, this woman's giving us $500. But shit, she gave USC and University of Hartford $100,000 every year. Holy hell. So what's Noah going to do? If he's doing his job, he's going to pick up the freaking phone, email you. But also maybe he finds out your best friend was Melody in college, or your neighbor. Melody, you're a movie star too now. So Melody's in Soap Opera Star. And you're buddies, right? You were in the same movie together or something like that. So Noah approaches Melody to get to you. Now, the next thing is Noah's going to want to qualify you. So Noah's going to ask for a meeting to sit down with you. Noah, what's your organization again?
Philanthropy Colorado.
Okay. So you grew up in Colorado now. Sorry about that. Well, Colorado's nice. Don't get me wrong. I'm pretty close to it right now physically.
That's right.
And so he wants you to get to Philanthropy Colorado, and he's going to tell you about it and see if you're interested. So if you grew up in Pueblo, Colorado, then you're going to be like, yeah, I left that old community behind. I'm full of myself now. I live in Hollywood. You know, I lost my background. I don't want to know about those people. Or maybe you're like, I love Colorado. My mama lives there. My sisters live there. It's really important to me. Tell me what you're doing. This is qualification. Universities, they call this a discovery call. So it's very important to qualify people. So when you qualify people, and you're going to be trained to do this, it's a fork in the road. Then when you qualify people well, you'll have a good pool of prospects who already told you they care a little bit. Okay, and there's different types of qualifications: a hard qualification, a soft qualification. We'll talk about those later. Cultivation. So then Noah's doing his job. He gets Melody and Isabella to come to a big event in Denver for Philanthropy Colorado. And they meet all these interesting people and they hear stories of Philanthropy Colorado, and it's very moving. And there's dancers and there's people like them. So Noah's doing his job. Okay. He's moving their heart and getting them interested. And so then after the event, Isabella's just so touched by what she's seeing. And she's brought her mom to the event, right? And then after the event, not at the event, Noah says, hey, I'm gonna pop by. I'll be in LA. Could you mind if I pop by to hear what you thought about the event? Then Noah's gonna ask her for money. Okay. So then Noah's gonna solicit. Then afterwards, so Isabella gives him $50,000. Groovy, he writes her a nice thank you note, writes Melody a thank you note, and then he's gonna take care of her. He's not gonna be like, oh, forget her. The hell with that, got that. And then next year go back. No. You're gonna engage her and invite her to things and write her. So next year you can ask her for 75 and keep her. And then she's gonna say, oh, you know who else is from Colorado? My good friend Melody, who's also rich, So that's the cycle of fundraising explained. Sorry, Isabella, you're not that rich, but it's cool. Anyway, so you guys get it, right? Does that make sense? Any questions about the cycle? No, we're good? Okay. So the cycle, anytime you're doing a fundraising plan, anytime you're showing your board what you're doing, you can line it up with the cycle. So if you have a board that's like, Isabella, where's our money? Oh my God, we're paying you as development officer. We want $1 million right now. You can show them, okay, here's all the people I'm working on. Here's where they are in the cycle. Why don't you help me get to these people? Switches the tables, okay? Because it shows I'm working my ass off. I'm getting these appointments, right? And, also if they're mean to you, you can send them to me and I'll take care of them. Anna, please.
So I've never been good at this. So I've
Okay.
tried it in the past. But a few years ago, about 2 or 3 years ago, I don't know where she came from, but we were on some fundraising platform here in San Diego. I think it was San Diego Gives or something like that. And a woman calls us and says, hey, I want to give you $2,000. And I said, oh, okay, well, thank you. And I sent her a thank you note, and we sent her a certificate, just to say, how much we appreciated that she gave us the money. But I left it there because, I didn't know. I didn't even know your organization existed at that point. So if I wanted to reach out to her, how would I do that? What would I do? How would I be able to reach out to her again?
Sure, easy. You want to tell her what happened with her money and update her on the changes in the organization? Sometimes you can ask them to do some. So cultivation is all kinds of things. You can ask her to be part of something you're working on, to volunteer.
Okay.
You want to engage them in some way. You want to throw curveballs, okay? You want to come at them in a way that you're not going to come ask them for money immediately.
Right. Right.
But you can ask them for other things. Ask them for their advice. People love giving their advice.
Okay.
Habitat for Humanity, their best cultivation, they would go to Isabella and say, Isabella, here's a hammer and a saw. Can you help us build this house? She'd be like, what? Sure, I guess, And then she gets to learn about the mission firsthand. Really good food banks get rich people working there. Okay, because then you see poor people with dignity and they're real human beings and what the work looks like. There's many types of cultivation. I teach 14 types of
Okay.
cultivation in my session.
Okay.
You and I keep saying your name wrong.
Yes, so Ianai.
Okay.
So to follow up what with Anna is expressing, right now with everything that's going on in LA County and the surrounding counties through California, there's been a lot of interaction to build into the organization and CoFam, but how do I cultivate when there hasn't been anything at all? Like, how do I motivate them to like one come in and see how they can become donors? I'm having a hard time to having them like pull that first interaction.
Okay, so you will be Pavel, there's a class in cold calling, right?
Yeah, there is.
Okay, good. I'm teaching it. So we will teach you. I can't answer that completely right now, but what we'll do is we'll teach you to make first approaches cold. We'll
Okay.
also in at depth teach you cultivation. Now, don't forget, guys, with all your classes, if you're stuck on something, just email me or text me, and then we'll get together and go over it. Okay? I don't want anybody going, "Oh, I didn't understand that class," but I don't want to look stupid. I don't want. And then if you're like, "Oh, Armando's cool, but Yuri is much cooler," Yuri's much cooler, unfortunately. I'd much rather talk to Yuri Casco. You can have that too. Okay. So the board is here to serve you. Okay. All right. Let me pop ahead here. So as you guys know, there's all types of fundraising. Our organizations overwhelmingly focus on foundations. But even then, they focus on local foundations, known foundations. And I say known foundations because there's lots of small family foundations in communities people don't know about because they don't do their research. I'm advising our civil rights organizations right now who are fighting for our people to go to Germany and England and Switzerland foundations that give to persecuted populations and human rights. Because what's happening with Latinos right now is an international human rights violation, right? You have to think about your money, it's in New York or San Francisco or Chicago, okay? That's where philanthropy is powerful in those three places in this country. I don't care if you're in Texas, there's money for you everywhere. It depends on your work you're doing. You got to look nationally. I talk to these major foundations all the time, and they don't hear from Latino nonprofits. Okay. Oh, they hear from white nonprofits, big freaking time. Okay. But they don't hear from us. So we got to get our own piece. Corporate is challenging. So corporate has always been small, but there's a bunch of sinvergüenzas who are afraid of looking too Latino right now. They don't mind getting our money when we spend at their stores, no problem, or go to their banks, but they don't want to be seen next to us philanthropically. So yours truly will be shaming them very shortly in public. So don't worry about that. Let me fix that if I can. Now, individual giving, direct marketing is mass giving. And this is a real big power for our people. There are many of our member organizations that we'll tell you about that have established monthly giving, small gifts campaigns that raise hundreds of thousands of dollars. We have the numbers, that's for sure. How do you create a culture where giving is normal? How do you create a culture where people involved with the organization give and are asked to give? This is what we're looking for. So a healthy organization has multiple revenue streams and multiple people in charge of those revenue streams. If you have one person working on fundraising, it can be okay, but lots of times it's dangerous. 2 or 3 people, your chances of financial success go through the roof. It's a whole different story. And finally, my specialty is individual major giving. I'm a major gifts gun. So is my board chair, Diana de Jesus Medina. So is Lisa Lamboy. Yuri's major gifts, but she's done all kinds of innovative work too. Josef Castañeda is another prospect researcher too. So that we have a mix on purpose. So I've developed major gifts. That's my job. That's what I've done. But I've done all sorts of fundraising, But that's what I got my shit together about. Okay. Okay. Any questions yet, guys? I'm gonna go over themes. Okay. Now, the biggest challenge with fundraising is getting institutional investment in fundraising. How do we get organizations to make a serious investment? I have seen $2 million organizations where 90% of their budget goes into program, and they don't have any money for fundraising to raise more money for the future. They spend it all, right? If it's like if Dr. Serrano went to a store and spent all her money and then surprised she can't make rent, So this is what most institutions do. And fundraising is a long-term investment, right? In the very least, it's 9 months to a year to really start fundraising successfully. For individuals, it's a couple of years. So it's not something where you can, Karina can just go ask for money and it pours in. That's a fallacy. That's a horrendous mistake, and our profession doesn't get enough respect. Okay. So ignorance of fundraising is absolutely deadly. Now, as Somos members, you can bring your board members to trainings of ours. You can also get a board training. That's what I'm doing with the women's building on Thursday. And we're basically trying to really make sure that board members understand what's involved and make that investment. Now, the other question is time versus the fiscal year. Lots of times, organizations will say, oh, we're going to make an investment in fundraising. And then it gets close to the fiscal year and they're like, okay, Jorge, where's our money? Yeah, come on, man. It's been a year. And your major donors, they don't give a shit if it's been a year. They have lives of their own. It doesn't move on. Later on, when you have a much more established program and okay, I raised $2.5 million last year. This year I'll raise 2.6. Here's when it came in. Okay, I could estimate, then you can say, well, when you're starting a fundraising program, you don't know, right? You don't know. You're planting seeds. You don't know what's going to grow. So there's a panic thing that happens with people with the fiscal year, with boards, especially stupid CFOs who are like, oh, we need money. It's like, yeah, dude, because you invested in fundraising doesn't mean exactly in 6 months money comes pouring through the ceiling, Doesn't happen that way. So when you get hired or when you start a new campaign or just talking to your boss now and saying, listen, this is what I'm working on. Here's my pipeline. I'm using the cycle of philanthropy to show you my pipeline. Oh, when's Wells Fargo going to give us money? I don't know. It's okay. There's no way to tell. And they're like, don't you know? It's like, no, how would I know? Maybe every year they give you money in June. Okay, that's different. But you got to be careful with sticking to giving people promises you can't keep. Now, the silver bullet for most fundraising, that's why there's a prospect researcher on our board and one working for us, is prospect research. This is what 95% of nonprofits do not do, that every university, every hospital, every large institution does do, which is prospect research. So prospect research is when Noah found out that Isabella grew up in Colorado and she's filthy rich. Okay, that's prospect research. He's thinking, okay, she has a heart for Colorado and she's got a ton of money. Okay, so people ask me, how did I raise $1 million from a Chicano for the Mexican Museum in San Francisco? I raised it because I did my prospect research. I found a guy who mentioned in a bio about him that he loved Mexican art. That's all I saw, Mexican art. That he sold his company back to Google for $465 million. Okay, like done. That's all I needed. Then I got his info and I reached out to him. Okay, 5 meetings later, $1.1 million gift. Okay, that's accuracy in fundraising. So prospect research is half the battle. If you do good research, you'll make money. Okay. And that goes for foundations and that goes for corporations. Now there's a big challenge with relationship versus transactional. So relationship-based fundraising is individual giving. It's different types of fundraising. Sometimes foundation giving, where you build a relationship with people, okay? Where you're building a relationship, it's long-term, it's renewable, okay? You can talk with them, you can engage with them. That's a relationship. Transactional fundraising, Latino fundraisers love to do galas. If I get anything to do with you, you will be killing your gala. Okay, matalo. Okay, put it in the backyard and kill that thing. Galas suck the air out of organizations. They're like vampires. Okay, they take time, they take resources, and they don't produce much. So transactional fundraising dies when there's crisis. During COVID, transactional fundraising died and organizations folded out. Okay, walks, golf tournaments, galas, sales. You're not building a relationship with those people. They're just coming to have fun. They're not coming because they love your cause. They're coming because they want to have fun and maybe look good to their new girlfriend. That's about it. So we got to be wary of transactional fundraising. Always ask yourself, is this transactional? And boards, oh, they love transactional fundraising because it's easy. But it's small dollar, it breaks easily, and it's not renewable. Okay. Always look at an organization's external image and even your logo. Okay. Does your logo look like children made it? Okay. Does your logo, is it clear? Does your website show your passion of your work? Can an absolutely busy person who's getting on a flight look at your logo, look at your website on a cell phone and stop and go, oh, okay, wow, this is interesting. That's what you've got. You've got about 4 or 5 seconds to interest somebody on your website, okay? And it's super important that you have external images that are powerful. So please review those and take a look at that. We're going to talk about that more. Pavel, is Marco teaching communications?
We have a recording of it, but we can have him teach if you want.
Let's ask Marco. Marco Corona is our comms guy. He's pretty brilliant. Okay. Now with Latinos, innovation and cultivation is super, super important. How do we do things that are going to get people? It's such a virtual culture these days. There's so many people who don't go to restaurants, they just order food and sit on their couch, right? That's, to me, that's kind of depressing. I mean, you want to do that sometimes, but people who do it consistently never get out. What can we do to get people out? What can we do to bring people in? To have them, there's nothing like experiencing something firsthand. If you get somebody to an event, to a tour, to a volunteer, to a protest, you got them, okay? Unless you step on their foot or tell them they look fat or they're old, you know, which I've seen all of those, by the way. Well, in the sad department, when I was at Berkeley, I had a prospect, I was going to cry. My researcher, we worked on this woman for years, about a year and a half. And the dean of the business school, she was an idiot. And this woman came to an event finally. I'm like, oh, I can't believe she's finally here. This woman's worth about $1 billion. And I went to see her. She was a kid in Connecticut, Isabella. She flew all the way to Berkeley to visit. And my dean saw her and go, what did you do? She wasn't pregnant. Boom. All that work. Bye-bye. She looked at me like, fuck you. That's what she did. And I was like, okay. And my dean goes, did I make a mistake? Like, now then you want to do matador, you know? That's when you want to. This is like, I wanted to leap off the Bay Bridge, is what I wanted to do. So, diversity in fundraising is very important. Let's talk about diversity. So, diversity in fundraising is not people of color, it's your methodologies in fundraising. You got to have several horses in the race to win it. Okay. So if you have an individual giving program, what kind? Do you have a foundation program? Do you have a corporate program? The more programs you have running, the more likely you're going to have success. Okay. Because when you're raised, when foundations are pulling away and you have an individual program, you can turn on the volume on that, right? If you just have one horse in the race and it's getting tired, you're out of luck. right? People are going to start getting layoffs. But if you have multiple revenue streams, it's a different game. All right. So that's why important diversity. Oh, my boss says you can't afford that. You won't be able to afford it in the future because you'll be closed. Okay. So having diversity in fundraising, fundraising is job one for any nonprofit. And people don't want to hear that. Executive directors, you tell them, Armando said, first job always is money. Without money, you don't have shit, right? You have some nice people who want to do something and they can't because they can't afford it. End of story. Right. Diversity in donors. So we bake in the front diversity in our donors, especially individual donors. We have to be color and gender blind. Okay. We have to go where the dollars take us. Okay. And especially if it's a Latino cause, you want to look for people who understand it personally, viscerally. Okay. Viscerally, that's the term. You want people to feel what you're working on and understand it. You don't have to explain to them, you don't have to tell them. They know what you're talking about, right? So a lot of our immigration organizations, we're asking them to pursue wealthy immigrants, okay? People who've made it, who've been in these terrible situations. So you don't have to say, oh, immigration is very difficult. No, I lived it, okay? Right? Those are some examples of the key themes in fundraising that are harder to see than normal. Any questions? Yes, Noah.
I run an association that primarily all of our revenue comes from our members. So in diversity and fundraising, I mean, there's a lot of opportunity for diversifying the way we might get revenue from our members. But have you ever worked or helped mentor an association that has explored moving outside of its membership for support?
Probably have. I don't remember off the top of my head. I've done fundraising for almost anything you can imagine. And I like to tell people I'm actually 30. This is what fundraising will do to you, but it's I've done all sorts of association. I probably have. I'm trying to think if there's somebody who's done that. I think it's Lisa Lamboy's on association fundraising. It's somebody else who's done it in our team. It's escaping me. But look, oh no, Pedro's done that. Pedro Rivera in DC. So
Okay.
he's doing it now for HNBA, Hispanic National Bar Association. But yeah, we'll work together, Noah. We'll figure it out.
Okay.
Gracias. Russ,
Yeah,
Captain Degnan.
hey, thank you. Number one, I love it, and the however you say it, shoot down the galas. I love it. I shared that with my board when I got back from your conference. But is that a piece for me running a youth program and a youth center? It is an opportunity to highlight and share the successes throughout the year. I mean, you don't just kill it all the way, Armando. Isn't that a way to touch
So
people?
yes, there's a way to touch people. Russ, so I teach a small, I don't think we teach this probably, but there's a recording. I teach a small event model
Okay.
that's
We have a
practically
recording.
free.
I can send it to you, Russ.
Okay.
Send it to the crew if they want it.
Yeah.
So it's a prospect research base. At this point, you're going to look at this and go, "This is confusing." And further on in the class, you'll be like, "Oh, now I get that. Oh, okay, now I see that spot." It's heavily based on prospect research. I use a descending phone invitation system. And I tell people who are like, "Oh, my gala is the best," and I ask them. I ran an event once with 16 people, maybe $5.5 million in one night. Okay? And it cost me nothing. Can you do that? And they're like, no. And I've raised millions with galas. I just know that they're parasitic. They're like eating your seed corn.
I
Um,
agree. Every time we run one, it's like we break even or make like $650.
and no one ever, someone who says, "Oh, our gala is wonderful." You ask them, "Do you count staff time?" They're like, "Oh, no." And they're like, "Okay, if you counted staff," and nobody wants to count staff time tabulated because then the board just say, "Oh my God, that's how much we're paying people." So it's a funky thing. All right. More questions. These are good questions, guys. I talk too much sometimes. All right. So we want to talk about educating your board. All right. We want to talk about how to get your board to understand the number one destroyer of successful fundraising is a board that doesn't understand it. I've been fired from organizations when I had doubled the fundraising from the past year, but the board didn't know that. Okay. So we have to help our board understand what we really do. Okay. Most boards are ignorant of fundraising, but there's always somebody. The most scary person is the board member who says, "Oh, I know fundraising," which means they ask for like $100 for their kids' little league, and they're going to tell Russ, "Oh, this is how you should be fundraising." It's like, dude, you don't know squat. And our profession doesn't get respect. No one says, "Oh, I saw a movie about brain surgery. Let me work on your son." No one's cool with that. But people do that with fundraising all the freaking time. It's like, oh, no, 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 no. You don't know. Have you done it for a living? Have you paid your rent with it? No, you haven't. So, cállese. Okay. So, but you want to educate your board. So, the cycle of philanthropy is what you've got to train your board around. You can bring them to Somos trainings, okay, and you can bring them to the conferences. Um, you have to help them educate them that fundraising takes years, okay, that it's a slow process, especially with like Dr. Anna and some of these places that don't have a base of funding. That's you're planting in new fields, and that's going to take a while for it to grow, and that's going to take multiple hits. Just now, after 4 years, I'm getting individual major donors for Somos. Granted, what I'm doing is really weird and people don't give to it because you're helping people fundraise. Okay, it's not like, oh, I help kiddies, who are stuck in the gutter, or I'm helping people who are sick. People, oh, I know what that is. What I'm doing is weird. And so let me ask you guys, do you have any experience educating your board? What's worked for you? I have one more big idea. Tell me what's worked for you guys in the past, if anything has.
I'd like to jump in really quickly. So we from Prod, it was Kim and I, our CEO, who went to the Somos conference last year. And then this past conference, we brought two of our board members who are probably two of the more active ones. Um, and so I think bringing them to the conference was really great for us because they got to see things a little bit more from our perspective. And also learn more of the importance of their role as a board member. So in our next board meeting, which I think is next week, they're going to be sharing out, and I'm hoping that kind of lights that fire in everyone else. And soon we'll hopefully be getting some board training as well from Somos. We're going to try and set that up.
Right on.
Yeah.
So
But it was a great conference.
gracias. Yeah, we
Yeah.
were there with Russ and a couple of other folks here.
Yeah.
Who else has got a board orientation education method?
I'm just gonna be honest. I'm one of those nonprofits that sucks, Armando. And when I was at that IEHP Foundation, um, we have a work plan, and you really helped enlighten me because I am the CEO. My father may have founded it, but I've grown it, and we are that $2 million all government contract program, and I do the grant writing. I feel great, but I always feel like a failure because we don't fundraise. So they're not a good example, right? I'm not a good example. But
Cool,
what I
man.
did learn from you is almost what I got from it, Armando, is almost like prospecting for board members. I've got board members that are great, they're supportive, but they don't see their role in fundraising. They've flat out said, "You want me to share my database?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I do." You know? So I just want to, I'm not a good example, but
Okay.
I see it as we need a prospect, and that's where I want to really glean on you guys. I think I need to
So,
start there.
okay, so I'm going to ask Lily to verbalize her question, her point. But before I do, with board members, we don't want them to say, "Give us your friends." We want to do the research, and then Russ is going to say, "Hey, you know Mark and Jose? Oh yeah, we work together." Well, you know they give to youth development here in the community, and we think they'd be interested in Operation New Hope. That's different because you're doing something for them. You did your research, and it's not him pressuring his friends and making it uncomfortable. That's what prospect research is about. Lily, please tell us what you're saying here.
Yeah, so for a few years, our leadership team played around with this idea of building kind of a simulation experience for board members to.
Yeah, that's a drag. How'd that happen, man?
Mm.
I think Lily did it. She was talking.
I was actually
That's
worried it was me. Um, Yeah, so to just kind of summarize, we essentially did case studies with our board members so that they could kind of more intimately understand individual challenges that lead to systemic, you know, challenges and the funding needs that are kind of intrinsically tied to it. So they kind of immerse themselves in this one particular situation to understand the larger problem at hand and thus the kind of urgency for funding.
Okay. Well, cool. Thank you so much. The method I've used a lot in the past is to take a board member with me to visit a donor for the first time. Because then they're going to see that it's not this crazy thing where you can ask them for money the first time. Okay. Um, let's see here. All right. I'm trying to figure out where I am here. This is weird. How can this, did I mess something up here, man?
Oh, you're good.
Okay. I'm trying to think of, this doesn't look like the same presentation, does it?
No,
Yes, it does. Here.
it was, yeah, I think you just passed the one you were at. Yep.
Okay, there you go. All right. Thank you, everybody. So I take board members with me to visits is one thing. I got to be careful of time. Are we ended at 7, man? Or
6 p.m. Pacific time, but yeah.
so, dude, if I got 10 minutes, then we did too long on introductions. We're gonna have to finish it up later because I don't want to rush through the rest of this, man. So sorry about that, guys. Me being late and then falling off, I think took a bite out of it too. So let's talk about time versus fiscal year. The fundraising cycle, depending on what you talk about, it's 9 months to 2 years. I believe in short cycle fundraising, which is 9 months. A lot of people don't. Okay, that means time between we met Isabella till she makes a gift. Till we identified Isabella, or till we met Isabella and she makes a gift. Okay, people don't just say, "Oh, yeah, I'm going to meet with you next week and give you money." It takes time to get a hold of people. It's hard. Okay. Like I said, board education versus perception of when you should be raising money versus people think because the fiscal year is over, we should be raising more money. It doesn't matter, it doesn't, it's not related. One other way you can really help your board understand fundraising is create transparent tracking. So I create a simple Excel report with different colors for each of the cycle of philanthropy, like across, and then the donors and the prospects, then the other access. So, that's Bank of America. Okay, we're in cultivation with them. It's Lily Sanchez. We're in solicitation with them. It's Russ. Oh, we haven't gotten to Russ yet. He's still in identification. You see the picture? Also, just keep in mind that your budget around the year is not tied to your fundraising. So if you got more increase in your budget, it doesn't mean automatically the money shows up. It's a lag time. Okay. And there is this funky thing I call the 1 year rule that boards do, which is in a year, when you're newly hired, no matter what they tell you, they say, oh, we got plenty of money. We want you to build our fundraising program. In a year, a board always goes, where's our money? I don't know why. Just people look at the calendar and they do that. So it's really important that your board have courage under fiscal pressure and to keep investing in fundraising. When I see an organization cutting, oh, we're losing money, let's cut the development department, I know they're dead. Okay, they're not going to live because it's stupid. It's like, oh, we have a massive hill, let's cut out the engine. It's like, yeah, that makes sense. That happens all the time. We need to invest in fundraising. Okay, so our allies in explaining and protecting our budget are our board members we've recruited. So Prod, our homies from Perth Amboy, now they have board members who've been trained in fundraising. So if Kim comes up with a growth and fundraising plan, she's got people here to back her on the board. You know, she has people who can counter stupid ideas that board members come up with. Oh, let's do this and this. Let's create a gala with monkeys or whatever. And some board member can go, that's transactional fundraising. We don't want to do that. You know, so we want to be able to counter that. All right. All right. So prospect research, like I said, there's multiple ways you can do it. You can hire somebody to do it. If you're a big organization, you can hire a staff person to do it full time. You can have freelancers. This is the way most of our organizations use it now. They do freelance prospect research. And it's rarely poorly understood. And Pavel will tell you it's disrespected. People think it's slimy, and Pavel's looking at people's private bank accounts and looking for gossip. It's not the case, okay? And it's not for big, rich institutions only. Anybody can do it, you know? But it's super essential. It's super essential to our fundraising. A lot of our wealth is privately held. Okay, we do it, keep it in families, so it's harder to see. The tech wealth, law wealth, that's easier to find. You know, if someone's a law partner in a major firm for 10 years, they're probably doing okay, unless they got a gambling addict or 16 kids or something. You know, so this is what prospect research is: identifying. Every community has somebody that can be a major donor, even if there's a few. And I've worked in very rural places in Central Valley. Um, Central Valley is, for you non-Californians, it's the poor part in the middle of the state of California. Okay, very rural. And finally, there's APRA. APRA is the Association of Prospect Researchers. So if you go on that website, you'll get a headache because you're reading things going, okay, what the hell does this mean? It's like a geek fest. Jonathan.
Hey, I was gonna ask you, what would you recommend with, say, for example, somebody wants to start a nonprofit, would you recommend that they automatically start doing prospect research, like hiring a freelancer,
Yeah.
or having a freelancer and having, the founder or the board member, like, do it at the same time?
You do. I wanted to take a look real quick at how many slides I have left, and maybe we can finish them here. I've got about 5 left. You guys want to stick around, or you guys want to do them another time? We can have a quick vote on that. But let me answer your question first. So when I started Somos, that's the first thing I did, was I looked at what foundations even care about this. Who would care about, who gives to the Latino community? Who cares about fundraising? They call it infrastructure, is the term foundations use. So you can get a gauge of, is this even possible? You know, although I shouldn't use me as an example, because when I first saw it, I was like, this isn't possible. No one gives a shit about this. You know, no one gives to this. But if Russ is looking in his neighborhood and looking in his area, he wants to look for specific people who would give to this, who have youth development backgrounds. Maybe it's a foundation, maybe it's a company, and look for those specifics. And not just, I'll give you an example. In education, we have some members who do very gritty education work, kids on drugs, teenage pregnancy, kids, very poor, children of color. people who give to the local private school, that's education, but it's not the right education, right? So you've got to look for the right kind of people. So yeah, I think it's important to look first at your potential donor base and who they are, personally. Okay. All right. Any more questions about this? Okay. All right, cool. Let's keep going, guys. Thank you for your response. Any more questions about prospect research? There's a whole class about it. Okay. So I'm going to jump this slide pretty quickly because I've already beaten that horse, as they say, which is a terrible expression. And the question to relationship versus transactional is, does the donor give because of the mission? If they don't, that's transactional. Do what these people give to align with our mission? Okay, that's, if it does, that's a relationship. Is there deep engagement? So have you gone to the Rubber Chicken Gala? Jonathan, was like, there's 300 people and they're talking about things in the back that have nothing to do with that organization. That's transactional. Okay. All right. Noah and then Jorge, please.
Well, just a quick question on your opinion about like giving days or giving platforms in terms of like being transactional versus relational based.
Some can be relationship based. It depends how you engage the donor. Okay. If they're buying something from you, like a t-shirt, that's transactional. If they're giving to you because they care about what you're doing and you can communicate with them back and forth in some way, that's the relationship. Okay. That's the difference. All right. I think
It's
who else had
okay.
their hand up?
Me, Jorge.
Go ahead.
Is it okay to have a balance with both of them, like have transactional donors and at the same time like a relationship-based donors?
Yes, but
Will you recommend
yes.
to base more
So
into relationship based donors?
so you don't want to do transactional fundraising with potential relationship-based donors. You can do like a telethon that's with everybody in the community. But the problem is with a gala or a golf tournament, if you get somebody in there who can give you $100,000 and they give you $1,000 at your golf tournament, they're never going to give you more than that. I don't know why. Someone's got to do a psychological study of this, but moving transactional donors into relationship is very difficult. I've seen it done a few times in my 40 years, but it's not common. And so you can have both, but the transactional fundraising shouldn't take relationship donors from you. So you have to think about it that way. If you can raise money from the general community, that's not your base of donors, okay, that's fine, right? Or if it's an add-on, an extra on top of a relationship-based fundraising, you can do that too. But other than that, yeah, you can have a balance. Pav, go ahead, you had an answer.
Well, yeah, I mean, just a follow-on question to that, having a membership program, right? That's transactional, but you can glean as a prospect researcher. Over time, you can glean from that membership pool and identify people that could be brought into a relationship for major gifts. So it's how you structure it, I think.
Yeah, and there is challenges with membership into major gifts. It takes a little funky dance, but you can do it.
And you were mentioned that it's really hard to pass when they give you like 100,000 as um a transaction and moving forward to be base. Do you recommend to get like a new search in order to have a new relationship base because it will be hard to get it
Yeah,
transferred to the base, or
you should always be searching to refresh your base of prospects. So that's the way universities do it. Is they're always culling and looking for new pipelines of people to come forward. If you can do that, yeah, I would do a screening, or not screening, or a prospect list out every year if you can do it, to bring in new people. And you sort through them, you qualify them, you call them. And it's just like, shaking for gold. There's going to be a lot of dirt, but there'll be chunks of gold there once in a while. Okay. All right. So again, external materials are really, really important. Do you have negative media about your organization? Online, you got to look. Okay, if somebody's putting down Philanthropy Colorado for some reason, you better know about it and be ready to deal with it. And if there's any way you can have that removed from a publication, do so, okay? Because that will hurt you so bad. I mean, I worked at a couple of institutions that had really bad reps, and it was hard. People read it and know and spread it. But the main thing is when people see your work, they do two things. They want to know your mission and they want to know your board. Okay. So if Jorge emails somebody who's rich and they look at his, oh, interesting, they open his website. First thing they're going to do is go, oh, what is this? Oh, he's working on that. Oh, that's interesting. Who do I know on this board? Oh, I don't know any of these people. Okay. That's what they're going to do. Sometimes they'll look at your financials. Sometimes they'll dig deep into your mission. This is the history of nonprofit websites. This is what people look for. And literally, they have to be interested in your work in about 6 seconds. Okay, they have to look at your website and go, oh, wow. Okay. Who's seen a really good website? But they want to talk about who has a good website right now. Because now people look at websites. They look at paper later, but they look at websites first and they look at it on a freaking phone or tablet.
Yeah, ours is I get great feedback, but we're actually refreshing it because it looks good, but it's not functional. A lot of the buttons, like to donate, it sucks. It doesn't always work. So I think you can look good, but does it work?
First trick, fix your donate button. Yes.
That's it. Literally, we're making it live this Friday.
Always a good idea.
Right.
So the number one mistake people make with websites is they don't have a human face. You need to have a human face. You need to have somebody that looks like the community. It looks like it doesn't have to be poverty porn, where you're denigrating anybody, but people have to see who they're giving to. They give to people, not data, not statistics, not graphics, right? That's why our website is people. The first thing you see is someone's face, and she's not. Like, if you saw her, you wouldn't say, "Oh, that's a Latina." She's more of a challenging Latina because we wanted to throw a curveball, but we wanted people to see, these are our people. Here's what we're fighting for. Here's who we're for. Here's who we serve. So please think about your website and how it's going to help your major giving or hinder it. If people have to do multiple clicks to find your mission, you're in trouble. Okay. It's got to be very easy to understand. Okay. And if you have people in your organization, there's organizations that are very wonky, okay, that have a lot of jargon that's good internally, but sucks externally. We got to watch out for that too. I don't know if any of you guys have something like that. Okay, so it absolutely has to have human faces and be able to explain over a cell phone. All right, that's that simple. Okay, getting a school. We're actually in the process of rebuilding. Cool. Don't be shy. When development officers sometimes don't say anything when they redo the website, you're like, oh, that's terrible. Oh my gosh. That's excuse my language, that's your ass there. You want them to like, no, I want this. If I get, Bill Gates to look at my freaking website, I want him to fall in love and cry, okay? Or Mackenzie Scott. I want her to go, oh my God, this is wonderful. Not, oh, let me spend 10 minutes trying to figure out the mission. Ain't gonna happen. Okay, let's go here. So with cultivation, we want to innovate. Always. We want to, because there's so much bad cultivation out there, guys. There's so much cultivation let's have another rubber chicken dinner. Let's have another bake sale. We want to do something that speaks to the heart of our work, that moves people's hearts, that helps them understand the humanity of our work. Okay. It brings them as close as possible to the work. The guy who trained me, Barlow Ware, many, many years ago, he used to say, put their hands in the mud and make them cry. I always love that. Because that's what you want to give them the experience of your work and you want them to feel it. Okay. Not with sob stories, not with, woe is me, but with real life stories of your work and success. Okay. And you can also make it engaging and fun, whatever your cultivation ideas are. We won't go over cultivation in detail right now because like I said, we have a whole class on it. But there's so many things you can do to bring people closer to your work, to experience what you're doing. There's also sometimes you can create exclusivity around. I'll tell you a quick story. When I was at the Mexican Museum in San Francisco, I know, Tanya, you ever been there to the old one? It was 2 rooms. It was tiny. Museum is stretching it, okay? And we used to joke because we had this big back room called the vault. It wasn't a vault. It was just a giant closet, right? So then, how are we going to cultivate people? It's embarrassing. This is not a museum. This is like 2 rooms in a tiny gift shop. So then I came up with the idea of like, oh, vault, give them a vault tour, private vault tour. So then we prospect researched a list, cherry picked the wealthiest Latinos in the Bay Area, and then emailed them and called them. I said, we have an exclusive. Oh, no. I created a plastic invitation that was laminated, stiff. It was beautiful. You would appreciate that. It was very, very Mexican. And it came in this beautiful envelope. Anyone would open it, right? And it was open, and people would call us and say, you have an exclusive invitation. And it was numbered. We're only inviting 50 people. We invite 300. We invite 50 people to come to exclusive vault tour. You're allowed to bring 1 guest. It's like, oh my God, I got a vault? Holy hell, this is special, right? I had rich Latinos lined up around the block in the sun. Okay. No, it was freezing, right? It was crazy, right? And then we had our best art out. We had the Frida Kahlo sketches out, and we had the Mayan stuff out. Not the crap, that was all in the back. And then they went through the tour, and our curators were there talking to them. And then they came out of to the gallery. We had tequila, of course, and antojitos and everything. And they had a great time. And that's where my first major donor, my $1 million donor, came with his brother. He was like, "This is amazing." I was like, "Oh, gotcha, man." I made that gift, and I made $390,000 in small gifts from that event. Okay, we had 120 people show up out of 300, and that cost me the 3 good bottles of tequila and a whole bunch of guacamole, literally. So that's an innovative cultivation, and making it like, oh my God, I got a vault tour. I mean, I'm going to bring my business partner. Anna, please.
So you kind of gave me an idea, because it's kind of hard with what I do, because I work with abused women. So just having somebody come in and, watch them fill out paperwork. But you actually gave me an idea. What if I just had a day where I invited people to come and meet the women that we've served in the past? Because we still have a lot of women to come and say hello to us. And just have like an exclusive, come and meet some of the women who've had great, who've gone on with their lives, that came out of this situation, something like that. And I mean, I know way too many Mexican restaurants that I know would give us food. So, but something like that.
Yes, but we have to do things with dignity. We don't want poverty porn,
Right.
but we can also do events where we can highlight our success stories and let people talk to people. I can tell you, we're going to do much more of this, guys, but we want you to come up with innovative cultivation, okay? But gracias, Ana. Okay. All right. So diversity in fundraising, be careful of being the person who only writes grants, okay? We don't want that. If you're a development officer, the best thing to do is get a freelance grant writer. There's tons of them. They're cheap. It's more important for you to do actual, relationship building. You launch new areas of fundraising by studying in your area who gives the most money, is it individuals? If you're in Chicago, there's companies. If you're in New Jersey, there's tons of companies, right? So you can look at your landscape and go, individuals, foundations, corporations, is our money in the community? Is that part of it? Where do we grow? What's our best growth market, right? And so you can do that anytime you want. And can you staff it? Okay, so if you say, listen, we want to build a much stronger foundation program, I want somebody to go out and meet foundations, we're going to have to hire somebody to do that. So good staffing for me is 2 or 3 staff persons for a small nonprofit. Of under $2 million, you want to have that. You need to start with one person, then you need to have one person doing one thing. You can't have Karina doing the gala, corporate fundraising, grant writing, and the mail. No, it doesn't really ever work completely. Okay, people think it does, but it never really builds strength. You're just treading water. That's all you're doing. You're not swimming. Okay, so people think I'm crazy to say this, but I know it works. How do you know? Because I've been in that situation. That's how. All right, hold on.
Question, Armando, on that. I love timing because we just recently hired 2, and you met 1 at the conference. Now, I asked this to you as well, Pavel. Is it full time? And I want to hear freelance because that actually is that kind of got me kind of thinking. So, are they full timers or are they contracted for so many hours a month?
Prospect researchers?
Well, I'm just saying when you're saying building a team of 2 or 3, that's what I visualize as well.
I suggest a prospect researcher when you have 3 or more development officers who go out the door.
Okay.
That's when you start to think about it, going, huh? Because these people need leads to be actionable.
Got you.
3 or more going out the door is I don't know, Pop, you have a different opinion?
I mean, I would say, well, yeah, you have to have people that are going to go out first. So if you're just starting off, to answer Jorge's question, I would say just you hit your network to begin with. You don't really need a project researcher when you're just starting out.
I disagree, Pavel.
You disagree with that?
I disagree. No. Jonathan's question, that's how I answered it. I've always started with a list, man. Always started with a list, but personal network's too weak. I don't know. I mean, you probably have a bigger personal network than me, brother. Everyone hates my ass, right?
That's where I'd start. I'm not going to contest it, but yeah, and then after that, you bring on a researcher. But I would say part-time, project specific.
All right, so let's shut this off, and we're good to go. Let's take any more questions from the team. Any more questions you guys have for this presentation? And Pablo, please tell us what's up next. Major gifts?
Individual major gifts. Armando's teaching again. Great class.
Yeah, I want you guys to learn that.
Do you guys have a date and time already?
There should be. Don't call Pablo's 6'4", so call him Pavelito or Pavilon.
I'm pulling it up right now. We keep them at the same time every Tuesday. I'm sending out calendar invites so you guys will have them.
Oh, nice. Thank you.
So yeah, but it's the same time every Tuesday.
Any questions on today's presentations and some of the background, some of the assumptions? All right. Wow. All right. Do we have a quiet cohort? That's what the last cohort looked quiet. Then they got loud. All right. Well, you guys, cohort 7, welcome. Welcome. We are your gente. You have a new gang you belong to, okay? This is our organizational pin. This is a Somos pin. This is a membership pin. It's beautiful. It's metal. There's a special one for La Vanguardia graduates. It's a silver one. You guys will see it. Wear it, and when you graduate, we'll have a final for you. It'll be a lot of fun. We'll put you through the ringer. Pavel and I will. But study hard, attend your classes. If for some reason you miss one, it's a lot more fun to do them live. Please see your recording because you will be asked about it. So please take this seriously. A lot of people put money into doing this and made this happen. The Chavez family has funded this for us. This is why we're paying for Pavel. And please take it seriously. Gracias. I'll see you in the next class. We're going to learn major giving. All right, guys? Have a good night. Be glad you're not in Albuquerque. It's 180 degrees.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.